night.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show that asks the eternal question, what if any idea was given a stage? I guess we'll answer part of that tonight. And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to 2025, a Thursday, the first Thursday of 2025. Yes, we're into a new year, a brand new year of new ideas or recycled concepts, or a little bit of both. Who knows? TEDx is a many splendored thing. But before I get into tonight's topic, who's joining me on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday evening? Advocatus Diaboli, good evening. The Alexander, good evening. Alan Thyler, good evening to you. Kieverdam, good evening, and thank you, Kieverdam, as always, for providing the links to our friends AJ, Rowan Harushan, Angela Ariaga, and Kristen's GoFundMes and various fundraisers. If you guys can take a look at those, pinned to the top of the chat box. If you're able to donate, please do so. But even if you can't, if you can, share those out on social media. That would be appreciated as well. So thank you for that ahead of time. And thank you, Kieverdam, for that. Rotten Corpse, good evening. Random American, good evening. Kiro Soldier, good evening. And Kieverdam, thank you so much, Kieverdam. That is ridiculously generous of you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody else, too. Hope your new year was a safe and happy one and fun one. Nationally, we got off to a rough start, putting it mildly, over the last 24, 48 hours. But that is conversations for another time, because it's been talked about enough, and I think we all need a little bit of a distraction this evening. But either way, thank you, Kieverdam, so very much. Very, very nice of you. And always, and everybody, thank Kieverdam for everything that she does to help out the channel with posting the fundraisers and checking in with me on different things, and just being an all-around, the all-around best den mother anybody could ask for in our little cave here. Dear Alexander, good evening. Who else is here? Shady Grin, good evening to you. Mr. X51, good evening. The Best Remy, good evening. Attack Alpaca, good evening. SWD40, hello. Zan Wild, good evening. Chicago Mike, nice to see you. Angelverse, good evening. Draco Rincewind, good evening. Dexter's Killer Lab, hello to you. Daniel Fullman, nice to see you. Glad to catch you at the beginning. I'm glad you caught me at the beginning. Nice to see you. Lurking Gopher, nice to see you too. Brittany Holland, hello. Brian Morissette, good evening. Super Mutant 2099, good evening. Holy cats, Derek LaRue! Derek LaRue, thank you. Holy cow. Man, I was worried about you, Derek. I hadn't seen you in quite a while. I messaged you on Discord, if you ever use Discord, because I was like, I hope Derek's okay. I haven't seen him in a while. But man, that is ridiculously... Thank you so much, Derek. Appreciate it so much. Hope you had a good New Year's and Christmas if I didn't see you before then. But thank you again, and hope you enjoy the show. John Trioxin, good evening. Popcorn Rocks, hello to you. Simon Willikins, nice to see you. Resolute Germ, good evening. Toot Sweet, good evening to you. Anybody else? Oh yeah, Walter Tomaszewski, good evening. Am I saying that correctly, Walter? Is it Tomaszewski? Because I've seen it done different ways. I had a couple of neighbors when I was very, very young who were Polish, and that's how I see that name pronounced. So you tell me, and if I get it wrong, I apologize. Tomaszewski? Oh, I did get it right. Tomaszewski? Maybe I didn't. Okay. Oh, good. I did get it correct. Okay, good. I was worried. I always get worried when I, Michiru Kurugi comes on here, and I keep trying to practice. Michiru. And Walter Tomaszewski. Okay, good. Good for me. Yay for me. And speaking of names to try to pronounce, Sextus Megorian, guardian of old Phyrexia. Good evening. But yeah, so anybody that I hope I got everybody. Did I get Sabian 2087? Sabian 187. Good evening. But anybody I missed, anybody in the future, anybody lurking, good evening to you. Oh, Tack Alpaca, thank you so much for the happy, smiley, Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat.
Wowie, wow.
Oh, there's a Weebo Jones Dogcat Fox. And strangely enough, Weebo Jones just posted a new video. It's been a while. She's been really busy with real life stuff. So if you guys either remember Weebo Jones, because it's been a while, or if you don't know about Weebo Jones, look her up on YouTube. She just put up a new video. I think it's part of a new series or something. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Walter Tomaszewski. You're the only one who's... I'm the only one! I'm the one and only? Oh. Daryl Brewer. Mead Radio. Uh-oh. Oh, Midnight, it's a mead raid! Oh my god! Everybody, it's a mead raid! Look out! It's the meters! The meters have come for us! Oh my god, it's a mead raid and not a panty raid or a meat raid. That'd be a whole other thing. Kelly Oki. Good evening. Derek Lou, been busy with work. I'm back for a month, then vacation in February. Well, lucky you. Holy cats. Good for you. Carlos Alfredo Lopez. Good evening. The Dead Man. Good evening to you. Let's see. Emblazon64. Good evening. Anybody else I missed in the meantime? Boy, oh boy. A mead raid. Panty raid would be fun, though it's been a while since we had a good old panty raid around here. I can only imagine why in your household. Phil Thomas. Good evening. And let's see, did I already say Random American? Random American. Anyway. All right. Holy cow. If more people come in, I'll try to give as many hellos as I can. But we really have to get into tonight's subject before I say Phoenix Knight 08. Good evening. So tonight on TEDx, we have Work is Broken. Gen Z can help fix it. Now, Gen Z, as you may or may not know, has a reputation for being, and all apologies for those of you in the chat who fall within this category, but are stereotypically don't have the best work ethic and feel relatively entitled as compared to their forebears. But of course, I'm sure every generation of forebears would say that about every generation to come after them. But all the same, Gen Z helping to fix work. All right, so from the title, what is broken about work? Is it distance, remote working or something? Or is it something about the office space? Don't know. How can Gen Z specifically ameliorate this problem? I guess we'll find out. But first, make sure you have your bingo cards ready. Yes, for those of you visiting us from the Mead world, we play TEDx Bingo on here. Bingo cards are linked in the description below. Tonight's bingo card is bingo card C. C as in the Doom generation. That was the winner of the poll on X to decide what bingo card to use tonight. And the C option was the Doom generation as opposed to the Pepsi generation or the next generation. So bingo card C, links in the description. Get your bingo cards ready and follow along. Let's see. Anything else I have to say beforehand? Oh, if you're not already subscribed to my channel and you're new here, think about subscribing if you like this kind of thing. It's not the only thing that I do, but it is probably my marquee series, let's say, at this point. That aside, I'm going to turn down the background music just a smidge, if not off completely. Don't want to overwhelm our speaker. But I like having a little bit in the background just for consistency's sake. And this one clocks in at 12 minutes and 27 seconds. Comes to us from TEDx Fargo. And with that, we'll start off with a few seconds for a sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we will proceed.
I'd like to start with a little game of Would You Rather.
Oh, I love games. They're my favorite kind of games. All right, Would You Rather? You guys hear that all right? Let me know in the chat real quick. Sounds good, says Chicago Mike. Advocast Diablo, no blank generation. Richard Head is rolling over in his grave. Yeah, sorry. I had to think of 3 generation examples off the top of my head, and those are the first 3 that came to mind. Toot Sweet says, yep. All right. Sounds good, says Angelverse. Then let's find out, Would You Rather?
So I'm going to invite everyone to go ahead and stand up.
Okay.
All right. Take money off the table.
Take money off the table? Well then, what's the meaning of life?
Would you rather stay in the same job that you're in right now for the rest of your career?
Well, admittedly, I have been in the same job now for, it'll be 18 years as of March, which is, I think, I'm a relic at this point. I don't think most people have a job that they're in for that long. But I mean, my job's been good to me. I got it clocked. It provides me everything that I need. It's nothing fancy. You know, I'm not making zillions off it or something, but then I never really had aspirations for such. So, okay, what's my other option?
If so, you're going to go ahead and take a seat.
Mm-hmm.
Or would you rather change jobs every year from now until you retire?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that Renaissance man desire in me a little bit to have a bit more of a, I don't know, a eclectic skill set or of experiences and so on. You know, the joke my dad always made was, like I just said, I've had this job I've got 18 years of experience in this job. My dad would say, you mean you've got 1 year of experience multiplied 18 times? And in that case, I might actually have to concede to that, but... I think I like consistency. Maybe I'm just boring that way. Maybe I don't like the chaos of changing my career every year. So I'll go for option 1. What would you guys rather have? Would you rather have option 1 or option 2? Put in the chat now whether you like 1 or 2. And I'll also say hello to senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. Every day is a yay with Colleen Bernier. And also we have John Evan, Retro Guy Bear. Good evening. Anybody else that I missed in the meantime? I hope not. KH. Good evening. Hope I didn't miss anybody else. But yeah, would you rather take 1 or 2? We got Carlos says 1. Tier says 1. Advocatus wants a 3 option. There is no 3 option. John says 1. Chicago Mike says 1. Chicago Mike also then goes for pi. Everybody wants pi. Tier Alexander wants to be part of the continuum. Morgan King says 1. Angelverse says 3. So Angelverse and Advocatus Diaboli can work together in the same office. Daryl Brewer says 1. And I guess there you go. And Colleen Bernier says, make my own option. Well, how industrious of you. Also, good evening, Old Guy Gamer. All right, so a lot of 1s, not a lot of 2s, couple of 3s, and...
If so, you're going to remain standing.
Uh-huh.
Some of you are looking at your coworkers right now.
If you had the choice, the majority of people in that room look like they'd want to change jobs every year. Okay.
All right.
How do you become vested? I mean, the one advantage I have is that in the time that I've been in the company, I now have as much vacation time as anybody could get over the course of the year, because it adds up over time. You get, as your tenure gets up there, you get some better advantages. Not that it means anything now, but if the company ever sells, I have a small amount of stock in the company, not public stock, but, stock that could be worth something someday. So, I mean, and it's much more secure. So unless you can somehow, and I'm sure there are probably options out there to do so where you can have some benefits follow you from one place to another, but I don't know, there's something about being tenured or vested in a company that seems like more of an advantage to me than moving around every year.
Looks like around 60-40. You guys can go ahead and take a seat. So about 60-40, with the majority preferring to stay in the same job.
Really? Maybe I eyeballed the crowd differently. It looked like a lot more people were standing.
Now, Gen Z will make up 27% of the workforce by next year.
Okay. Next year being, I guess, this year now, because I think this is probably filmed in 2024.
And when we asked them this same question, the majority of them said that they would rather change jobs every year from now until they retire.
See, that sends a message to future employers that you're just a perpetual temp worker. I don't know. That seems short-sighted to me, but maybe that's just my Gen X mind thinking.
Well, tenure, loyalty, and longevity have often been thought of as reasons to hire someone.
Yes.
Our Gen Zers thought, would I rather build the collective insight from multiple different companies, or only deep insight from one company?
I think, here's what I think. I think that having a multiple of job and career paths would be the best time to do that would be when you are young-ish. So sort of like going to college and taking classes in different subjects and things to find out like where you feel like you fit. That makes more sense. But at some point, you're probably going to want to settle down, if not for just, stability and also location of work and travel and everything else. I think it's inevitable that you're going to probably settle into one particular spot or one particular vocation.
I share this to highlight just how differently from our traditional work norms Gen Z sees the world.
Okay.
And we have a choice. We can ignore them.
Which, is kind of the easiest thing to do unless you have any parents of some, I guess. Hemorrhoid hurts. Thank you so much. Gen Z, sorry, but AI has already taken your job. Depends on what kind of job we're talking about. AI is never going to be able to fix a leaky pipe. There's a lot of vocations, a lot of trades out there that I don't think AI is going to deal with. But I guess it depends on what Gen Z thinks is a job anymore, which is probably OnlyFans or TikTok.
We could study them to stereotype them, but how did that work for all you millennials in the room?
Yeah, because there are no stereotypes about previous generations at all. What?
I want to suggest, rather than stereotyping, we look to Gen Z as prototypes to help us build a better future.
Well, whether they are prototypes or not, they are the future. We don't have a choice in that matter. Let's take a moment and go over the bingo card real quick to remind ourselves what we're listening for in the process of this. Remember, this is bingo card C. Links to the bingo cards are in the description below. We have diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have word salad, mind reading or assumes motives. Well, she did ask everybody their thoughts on it, standing up and sitting down, so not so much. A list, we haven't had a list yet. Marginalized or marginalization. Patriarchy, contradicts own point or fails to make argument. Feminism, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Systemic or institutional. Anecdote that probably never happened. White supremacy. Childhood or family anecdote. Leaves out vital context. Weightless example or non sequitur. Sales pitch for product or service. I'm curious to see if she's not hawking something here. We'll see. Privilege, collectivizes own demographic. Well, she's so far talked about Gen Z in the generals, and she's talked about the millennials in the generals. I don't know her age, so I'm not quite sure what demographic she fits into. She might be Gen X. I don't know. Let's see. Self-vilification or wretchedness. Economic disparity. I'll be surprised if that doesn't come up at some point. Benevolent condescension. Plays victim. Deceptive statistics. And lastly, microaggressions or unconscious bias. So she's already given us some statistics. I don't know that they felt particularly deceptive. So nothing on the board yet, as far as I can tell. But of course, if you have an argument for a square to be circled, hold on to it. And by the end of the show, we will get to everybody pitching in to go with the bingo card. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Now, would you rather game? Would you rather listen to Gen Z or actually use logic? Ooh, ouch. Ouch. Chicago Mike has a low opinion of Gen Z. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Well, let's see. Now, how prototype for the future. They are the future. It's not a theory.
When we prototype something, we keep the aspects that work and we iterate on those that don't.
How? What? Okay. What aspects of Gen Z work? No pun intended, but I'll take it. And which ones don't?
Now, I've spent my career researching and writing about topics that matter to the world of workplace design and the knowledge workers who inhabit those spaces.
Okay. I'll take your word that you're an expert on the subject.
If that's you or you manage a team of office workers, I'm glad you're here because I want to argue that this topic right now has never been more important.
Oh my gosh. You guys, it's never been more important. Never been more important. Chicago Mike says sales pitch. Getting there. If she mentions a book she's written or an organization she's started or pushes any more heavily on herself as a consultant or something, then we'll get there.
In fact, I want to suggest that work is broken.
Okay, here's her thesis statement, everybody. In the grand scheme of the persuasive essay, work is broken. How so?
But don't worry, in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to take you on a journey to understand why I say that and give us some inspiration, some what-ifs to fix it.
Well, the best what-if ever is what if Dr. Doom became Sorcerer Supreme, but you can't beat that. But otherwise, okay, she's promised us she's going to explain how work is broken, and she's going to give us some inspiration. All right.
Now, let's start with my story.
Oh, my story? Uh-oh, here we go. Is it going to be a childhood or family anecdote and or an anecdote that we don't quite believe?
My father instilled in me a deep curiosity for the working world when I was very young.
Okay, childhood or family anecdote, circling that one on the board. Where did I put that one on here? It's here somewhere. There it is, right next to Dog, Cat, Fox, circling childhood or family anecdote, also circling free space because free is a good price. So 2 squares circled on the board. Also in the chat, pardon me 1 second here. Shiro Amada, good evening. Kay Scholl, good evening. Young Geezer, nice to see you. I saw somebody else here. Angela Ariaga, good evening. Your internet's favorite lunatic, good evening. Anybody else that I missed in the meantime? I hope not. I hope not. I don't think so. And also, check your logic, good evening. And Kay Scholl, Kirsten Scholl, pardon me, is over on X. Yeah, I'm also simulcasting on X, if you didn't already know. So if you happen to be watching me on X, please share the stream out on X. Or retweet it or whatever. I'm still experimenting with its use. There you go. All right.
And my mother instilled in me a deep desire to become a mother. I wanted to do both, and I wanted to do them well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blessed with a phenomenal start to my career.
Uh-huh.
But then...
Uh-oh. I'm getting one of 2 stingers ready for this. Which is it going to be? Is it going to be dun 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 or what a twist?
Came my second desire.
Uh-oh.
I was blessed with my first son less than a decade into my career.
Blessed with your first son less than a decade. Okay, well, it's not much of a twist or a dun dun dun. Okay.
And the transition was really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my paycheck was going to daycare.
Yep.
When we found out we were pregnant with our second son, before we even called our parents, we called the daycare only to discover that even with sibling priority, he wouldn't have a spot until he was 7 months old.
Oh my gosh. Maybe you should have thought about that before getting pregnant. I don't know. Just a thought.
And I found myself, because of the standard accepted 8 to 5 work hours, I was waking my kids up to rush them to daycare, to rush to work, to rush back, to pick them up, to feed them dinner, to put them in bed.
Oh my God, you actually became an adult with obligations and responsibilities beyond your own comfort level. Yeah, no, I can see how that might be a hindrance. If only you'd had a choice in the matter somehow.
We were spending more waking hours apart than together.
Yeah. Welcome to adulthood. This better not be a plays victim thing. She better not be trying to pull on me. Because I'm thinking of my own parents. Right? I'm thinking of the parents of so many other people that I either know now or grew up with. This is reality. If you're looking for sympathy, you are a prisoner of your own decisions.
And I hit a moment where I asked myself, what's the point?
The 2 lives that you've brought into this world and now have to support until they're ready to take on things on their own. That's the point. That's the point you created for yourself.
And sadly, this is the moment many women like me leave the workforce.
Why is that sad? If you prioritized your children over your career, I wouldn't call that sad. I'd call that the adult thing to do. Granted that you can afford it. I mean, not everybody can. But if you could, cut your work hours down and work part-time and have the husband carry the full load, or most of it like traditional families, then there you go. That's what my mother did. My father worked. She stayed home and raised my sister and I until we were in a position where we could take care of ourselves for the most part. Then she went back to work part-time and then, gradually transitioned back to a full-time worker as we got older. Yeah.
But if we're honest, I would guess in the tumultuousness of the past 4 years, many of you have also had your own what's the point moment.
I can't speak for anybody else who is the parent of 2 children, so maybe.
So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for just a minute.
Oh, no.
When was your what's the point moment?
Oh, geez, I tell you, I think starting this TEDx. Okay, I'm circling plays victim on the board here. As I said, she's a prisoner of her own decisions. She hasn't self-vilified or anything yet. Not benevolent condescension yet, but our eyes are closed, so who knows what she's going to have us do at this point. I suppose we'll find out momentarily. And now my browser's pausing on me. I hope the stream's still okay, because that would be awkward. Let's see. Angela Arriaga. So basically, this chick is bummed out that being a parent means being a parent. Yeah, at least that's my first conclusion. It's like, woe is me. I made a choice, I guess.
All right, you can open your eyes, but
what was the point? Okay, close your eyes. 5-second pause.
All right, you can open your eyes, but keep that moment in mind.
What moment?
As I challenge that the norms our working world are built upon today are based on outdated rules that no longer apply.
Oh. Okay, you mean like, I don't know, punctuality and physical presence in the office? I mean, I could see that second one being a decent argument, since so many companies had to discover their ability to work remotely because of being forced to work remotely. But what else are you talking about?
We still generally work banker's hours. A norm created when it was mostly men working with stay-at-home wives.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds to me like a patriarchy argument. Circling patriarchy.
And does anyone know why our kids have summers off?
To gather the harvest and the crops.
Most believe it was so they could help with the harvest.
Hey! What do you know? I'm sure there's a real reason. I'll take the victory lap for that one. Why not? Frosted Glass. Good evening to you, and thank you so much, Frosted Glass. Hope no one was listening to this while driving. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody keep your eyes on the road. Don't watch this. There's nothing to see. I know a lot of, I've heard from several people that they listen to these while they're on the road or like long haul trucking or something. If anything visually important comes up, I will do my best to narrate. But yes, everybody, stay safe out there. Just saying. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Okay. Banker's hours, harvest, but it's not really the harvest. What was it? Was it something real?
But today, our kids mostly aren't farming.
You're right. So you want to get rid of summer vacation?
And our linear career paths are built so that life peaks in your mid-career. This is the same time our duties caring for our elders and caring for our children peak as well.
Okay, so your argument is that work, or the philosophy thereof, is archaic. All right. Now, like I've said before, she's making her case as she goes. So in the persuasive essay sense, if these are the problems she's offering up, and I do appreciate the fact that she's starting to outline specific problems, which will become a list here pretty quick, because I think that's a list. Presumably, she's going to give us some proposed solutions. Fingers crossed, knock Formica.
It's a recipe for burnout.
Okay.
But here's the good news.
Mm-hmm.
In the past 4 years, we've seen a massive shift in how knowledge workers work.
Knowledge workers work. You know that, well, okay, I guess it depends on what you mean by knowledge. I guess we'll find out. Thank you, Kieverdam, again. Earning a living and housework/caregiving are basic life skills for any adult, regardless of gender. Exactly. Yeah, these are the bare minimums most times. And sometimes, necessity is the mother of invention when you find in yourself skills and a determination you didn't know you had. So, okay, but all right, she's got a phobia of adulting, but she thinks that the solution is to change how work operates. Okay, and?
Hybrid work is on the rise.
Hybrid work?
This is the perfect time to rethink norms for the next era.
Okay, well, not to keep, I have to keep pausing because of YouTube and all that fun stuff and commentary and fair use. But B, we have rethought work. When was this? Hold on, 5/22. Did they give us a date on when this was originally broadcast or recorded? 5/22. It just says TEDx Fargo. Did it ever give us a date? No. Okay, so I don't know when this was filmed. I'm assuming within the last year or so, I guess. Usually don't post these things more than about maybe 6 months out. So work has already changed by necessity. I said necessity is the mother of invention, right? Well, with the lockdowns and everything, as I said, many companies, including my own, had to discover ways in which to continue operating remotely. Thankfully, my company, everything that we do is effectively data-based. No pun intended, but I'll take it. And so we were able to transition without too much trouble to working remotely. And as a consequence of that, my boss discovered, well, it doesn't make any sense to keep leasing this giant office space for people, so I can just lease a tiny space to hold all of our servers and computers and stuff and have a little meeting room, and everybody else can just come in occasionally if they need to do something. But we've been almost an entirely remotely working company since 2020. And we've been fine, but it's not because we wanted to do it that way. We found ways to make it happen, and in the long run, it's probably more of a benefit as a result. But, okay, aside from remote working, at hybrid working, are you talking about now, what else do you want to have happen?
Next era.
Sorry, let me back up a little bit. I cut her off a little bit.
Time to rethink norms for the next era.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution in my research comes from looking at the youngest generation in our midst.
Really? You wouldn't want to look at how people with, vested experience in things had to adjust to the recent changes that have some experience in adapting to such things? Okay.
Adam Grant calls this a Vujade moment.
I don't know who Adam Grant is, and that sounds silly. But I'm going to circle attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Because at least by proxy, that's what she's doing.
It's seeing things we've seen many times, but with fresh eyes.
Sure.
Now, my research team and I have intensely studied Gen Z and
in what way?
How their perceptions will affect the future of work.
What is unique about their perceptions versus anyone else's?
Here are 3 of the most interesting things that we've learned.
All right, that's a list. Circling a list on the board. And just as a review, so far on these bingo card C, we have circled so far a list: patriarchy, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase, childhood or family anecdote, free space, and plays victim. There may be others oncoming or some that you already have arguments for. We will get to them as we go.
Number one, Gen Z is blind to their own physical, digital fluidity.
What?
One of the most memorable moments in the research was when we were talking about hybrid work, and one of our young Gen Zers said, "Permission to speak freely?" I said, "Of course."
She hasn't even defined hybrid work yet, which is kind of a failing of hers. I'm assuming she means both working remotely and working in the office. I'm assuming. I don't have anything else to go on.
He said, "I'm sick of everyone talking about how hybrid is hard. This isn't hard. It's just how we work. This is really a change management issue for you old people."
That's how I could kind of believe a Gen Zer would talk like that. But I guess the question is that an anecdote we believe happened?
And as a Gen Xer, that stung a bit.
Oh, as a Gen Xer. Okay, well, collectivizes own demographic, circling that one. Let's see, where'd I put that one on this one? Where are you? There you are. Oh my gosh, we're one square away from a bingo. If she gives us anything that we could consider deceptive statistics, we are off to the races.
But if you think about it, Gen Z, the earliest of whom graduated in 2019, just pre-pandemic, hybrid isn't hard. It's simply the air they breathe.
Yeah, well, try actually doing a real job. Not a real job. You know what I mean? Like a job where you have to be there. There's no remote working, which is a lot, if not many, many jobs in the country. That kid, whoever you're talking to, has been fortunate enough not to have to work in a job that requires your presence. And as far as I'm concerned, and this should be part of this should be like a prerequisite for college degrees or high school degrees or something. I think everybody Everybody has to spend at least some time working behind the counter in either a service level job or a retail position. Everybody should have to work retail or service for some portion of their young life to have some understanding of what actual work is sometimes and the trials and travails thereof, and also to learn to become a better customer, to learn some empathy when it comes dealing with people who do work behind the counter or in any other situation where you have to work at a stressful, on the clock, on a schedule, with a team, etc. I think. I sound like an old man. I think this is what kids should do.
A fish doesn't know it's in water. It's just swimming.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's get fidgetal.
Is that the Olympic sport of using a fidget spinner? Let's get fidgetal. Well, if I didn't already circle attempt to coin a new buzzword or buzz phrase, we'd have one right now. Okay. So you take the concept of hybrid work, which is working remotely and working in the office, a little bit here, a little bit there. All right. What is fidgetal?
That's physical plus digital.
Yeah, no, I got it. I have more than half a brain.
Now, contrary to popular belief, Gen Z doesn't want to be fully remote. They're also least likely to want to be 5 days a week in the office.
What if their boss says do 5 days a week in the office? What are you going to quit?
They seamlessly and naturally understand how to blend the two worlds.
Seamlessly? Really? Not having lived in a majority of their time in the one, they know how to blend the two? Oh, okay.
So perhaps by studying them, we can find clues that will help benefit the future of work for all of us.
How?
And as we look at broader research, most people actually they care more about when they work than where they work.
If you have the option to set your own hours, congratulations. Because I got to be up at 4 a.m. tomorrow and I'm working remotely.
But if I do my best work at 4 a.m.
Hey, 4 a.m.? Whoa, wait a second. Okay, what? Oh, holy cow. I'll tell you, I'll take that one too.
And you do your best work at 10 p.m. To make that effective. We have to develop new communication norms, define core working hours for team interactions, and develop new ways of asynchronous working.
Or maybe you need to tailor your schedule to the one that you're being paid for. I don't know. Maybe that is old-fashioned. Maybe I'm just a fuddy-duddy. Thank you, Hemorrhoid Hurts. Again, genius rings of power level anecdotes right there. Yeah, I'm a little sketchy on the whole thing. I'm still waiting for that really, convincing argument here. I need a case study. I need an example. I need an active example. Like, give me an active example of what you're talking about.
While most of us have likely never had this privilege, the future of work starts with all of us looking deep to clarify when and where we're most productive.
You are where and when most productive where your boss tells you. Also, she said privilege, circling privilege on the board. Oh my gosh, we're getting close, guys. Close, guys, to a bingo.
Number two.
Gen
Z expects transparency. You've likely heard about this from viral and very public salary discussions on TikTok.
Gen Z demands transparency. Well, you know what being demanding gets you a lot of the time? A quick boot out the door.
But we all were raised with the golden rule, right? You all can say it with me. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Well, do unto others as you would have them do unto you is how it's classically rendered as far as I know, but sure. Close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades.
But as a working mother who appreciates hybrid flexibility.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, as a working mother who appreciates hybrid...
To a Gen Zer who maybe has to go into the office 5 days a week to escape a crowded roommate situation.
Oh, is that why they're going in 5 days a week? Oh, what has that got to do with anything?
Perhaps the new platinum rule should be treat others the way they want to be treated.
Treat others the way they want to be treated? So I have to cater and defer to everybody else on the assumption of what I think they want? We're all just a giant collective of hotel concierge? Oh, yeah, I'm sure that'll work out great.
Not the way you want to be treated.
Well, you know what? Tell you what. If a convicted criminal wants to be treated like they're above the law, I think I might not.
So let's find clarity through transparency.
Okay, how do you propose to do that, and what does that have to do with item number 1? Item number 1 was just hybrid working. You gave it a name. Fidgetalididididi, whatever it is. What find clarity through transparency?
We all know that clarity is kind.
We all know that clarity is kind. Okay, circling mind reading assumes motives. Because yeah. Anyway, circling that one on the board. Okay.
And overall, in this 5-star rating world, people want to know what will make them effective at your company. It's okay for people to move on. It's also okay for them to be clear about what trade-offs they will and won't make for work and their lives.
That's usually laid out in your job description and the hiring offer or however else a company might do it ahead of time. If you're here for X number of months, you'll then get these benefits. The X number of years, you'll get these benefits. Here's the salary for this job. There's a possibility to advance to this job or this level, and so on and so forth. Is that what you're talking about? Because I can't speak for everybody. I can't speak for every company, but every company I've ever worked for, they've laid it out pretty plain at the beginning. And you knew what the expectations were, and you knew what you were working towards earning with, tenure and vestige, vestment, whatever. You know what I mean.
But our companies must do the same. My hope is in the future, companies have a range of options where some, as their competitive advantage, are fully remote. Others, as their competitive advantage, are fully in office. And there's a range of options where majority of them exist in between.
Things like that have existed for quite a while. If you're talking about making it the norm, okay. I don't think you're coming up with anything new on that one.
The future of work will start with companies boldly declaring their policies to help all of us make better career matches.
Okay. I wish you'd give us an explicit example of what she's talking about, because a lot of this feels like maybe some of the responsibility for figuring this out falls upon the individual to do and not the company to do for you. I don't know. It's difficult to proceed in my thoughts without her giving us even a hypothetical example to illustrate what she's talking about. I'm getting close to circling leaves out vital context.
All right. And number 3, Gen Z insists on inclusion.
Oh, circling diversity, equity, and/or inclusion on the board. Insists. Oh, they demand this. They insist on that. Oh, boy. Oh, I didn't. I see. I explicitly went away from doing a DEI TEDx this week. Explicitly. I wanted to get some variety into my life. But I can't escape it. Even when I try to get away from it, DEI finds me. Where does the school board find them, and why do they keep sending them to me? I just...
Managers can't do it all, but they're often burdened, feeling like they have to. This can lead to implementation overload, where new ideas feel overwhelming.
What are you... Okay, I'm really getting annoyed at the lack of specificity here. What are you talking about? Give me an example.
All the while, Gen Z is saying, put me in, coach, but they often don't know where to begin.
Right. It's almost as if they don't have the requisite skills or experience for whatever the heck they want to get. They just want the title. They want the paycheck without earning it first. Is that what you're talking about? Because that's DEI.
So let's engage new voices.
Define new voices.
Now, one of my favorite stories I've heard about this is that of the Gucci shadow board.
The Gucci shadow board. Okay, please do not tell me that you're going to take what sounds like a glorified focus group and say it should be the model for all companies.
In 2017, Gucci recognized that its sales were declining as its core demographic was aging.
What is Gucci's core demographic?
So, they put in place a next-gen advisory board to advise their senior leadership on how to connect with the next generation through product development and marketing initiatives.
So a marketing consultancy group. Yeah, I've never heard of those before. Guys, can you believe it? Can you believe a company hired a group of people to help them with their marketing strategy? I know, what a crazy idea. I'm amazed nobody's thought of it before.
The result was 136% sales growth at the same time period that their largest competitor declined almost 12%.
Who is their largest competitor? What was their largest competitor's drop a result of bad marketing? Are you going to give us any more information on this? Because I'm getting ready to circle deceptive statistics and leaves out vital context.
The future of work will start with engaging new voices from new places, but also all of us being open to hearing them, even when they don't match what we previously believed to be true.
So wait, Gucci hires a subject matter expert, let's say, consultancy group for their marketing, and you're calling that the grand revelation? Okay. First off, leaves out vital context, circling that one. Also circling deceptive statistics, because saying 12% drop without any other context, I don't have anything else to go on. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means anything. But as a result of that, if you can...
Bingo! What? Bingo! Yeah! Of course! Of course!
We have our first bingo down the G column. Yes, with deceptive statistics, we hit the G spot.
Now let's return to my story, which obviously started well before Gen Z in the office was even a thing to study.
Sure, let's go to your story, leaving all the details of your previous story completely unfulfilled.
But I think you'll find some similarities.
Okay.
Now, in 2011, I left my traditional job, thinking it was a sidestep in my career.
What was your traditional job? In what industry or vocation?
By 2015, that sidestep was so successful that we actually incorporated, and I started hiring other working moms that had left the traditional workforce for one reason or another.
What? Okay. I can only circle leaves out vital context so many times. If you don't tell us what you did and how you moved from place to place, I have no way of assessing the quality or value of any of this.
This group of powerful women.
Okay, circling feminism. Good gravy. Circling feminism, because that's apparently where we're going with this. And, would you believe it, because of that...
Bingo. What? Of course!
Down the D column, yes, we got the D, 2 bingos. All right, you got 2.5 minutes left. This group of powerful women, as if that means anything, So all the working moms got together to form a group of...
Effectively doubled our business 100% by word of mouth year over year, till ultimately we were acquired in 2018 by the largest media brand in our industry.
What? What was the business? What was your industry? Who acquired you and for how much? What are you talking about? Okay, wait, let me back. Okay, we're at 11:08. What was that card you put up earlier? What was that card you had up for like a little bit? Yeah. Clarity through transparency. Let's think about that one for a second, shall we? Okay, when you're trying to explain a life lesson to someone, when you're trying to inspire someone to do something, and you have lived experience that you can showcase in order to inspire and give examples as, you know what helps? Details. How did you do this? What industry were you in? What was your specialty? Who bought you? And for what? What industry were... What... Good golly, Miss Molly. Okay. We're at 11:08. Back up a second here. Man alive.
Largest media brand in our industry.
Uh-huh.
And we were able to do this because we got phygital, like Gen Z is expecting. We blended synchronous and asynchronous work.
In what way? How? How did blending work for your specific industry? Because there are a lot of industries that don't work that way. Oh.
We found clarity through transparency.
Okay, contradicts own point, fails to make argument in one fell swoop.
Our work style and culture was not for everyone, and some left us because of it.
What was your work style and culture? Why was it so controversial? What are you talking about?
Some left us because of it. But those retained were the best fit for our culture and actually helped us build an even more authentic brand.
Of what?
And finally, we stayed open to new ideas, even when it didn't match what we previously believed to be true.
I don't even know what your existing ideas are because you're not telling us what the hell you did. How can you say you're going to use yourself as an example and give us no examples? Man, that takes skill. I'll tell you what. Actually, it takes no skill whatsoever. Pardon me. T.R. Alexander, already circled deceptive statistics. Already circled deceptive statistics. We've got 2 bingos so far. I'll show the card here momentarily.
So,
a needle pulling thread.
what I'm most proud of is, although this was developed for a group of working mothers.
What was developed for a group of working mothers?
It grew to include an empty nester.
What did?
It also grew to include a single 40-year-old.
A single 40-year-old of indeterminate gender now?
And even a veteran shifting its career.
Wait, a veteran shifting its career. Okay, well, all you veterans out there, you... Jesus. Oh my gosh. You know, veterans, I mean, in one instance, I guess it could be a complimentary thing to say, boy, those veterans sure are machines, but it's another thing to hear somebody say it that way.
What a twist!
Yeah, so...
We've proved success not only for those individuals, but success for the business.
What? That you haven't proven? Okay, I know. I might be beating a dead horse here, but every time she says something that's completely ambiguous, without any detail, nothing at all, this is just filler. This isn't inspiration, it's confusion.
So I'll leave you with this.
Oh, well, thank goodness. Please leave me.
Work, as we know it, is broken.
You haven't proven that in any way, shape, or form. You've complained about summer vacation and banker's hours. That's it.
Gen Z can help us fix it,
You haven't proven that either.
but it will take all of us to make it happen. Thank you.
Okay. Well, you know, my expectations were low, but I think I'd have to look up to see the bottom of a slug after that one. Okay, well, there you go. Ay, caramba. Let's move on to the bingo card. Let's not waste any time here like she did. This is the bingo card as I have it right now. Let me make sure I got that all updated. There we go. Okay, this is the bingo card as I have it. I'll go over it one more time by myself. If you guys have any arguments for squares to be circled, please hold on to them momentarily, and I will get to you presently. First off, word salad. Boy howdy. Like, the bulk of the talk was just blah-de-blah-de-blah with no definition and no examples put in. Marginalized marginalization. That was implied with the whole inclusion thing and saying we need new voices. Even if she didn't specify, that was definitely the implication. And because of that, if you can believe it.
Oh, won't somebody please?
Bingo. B-I-N-G-O. Okay. Right?
It's another third bingo. Holy cat. Systemic or institutional? I'm inclined to say that her complaints about banker's hours and summer vacation and everything is talking about the system and institution of work as it is, but I might be reaching there. So I'll need some backup from you guys if you think that works. And also it's a bingo score, and I don't want to just kind of throw it out there without some more consideration. Anecdote that probably never happened. The only anecdote she gave us was the kid criticizing everybody in the room for having old people, old managerial thinking about hybrid work. And the only reason I hesitate is because I could believe some snot-nosed Gen Zer saying something like that to adults in the room. I could believe it. I don't know. Do you? Let me know. White supremacy, she never brought up race. Weightless example, non sequitur. Boy, oh boy. The summer vacation. Why bring that up unless you're going to suggest that go away? Why bring up having 2 kids and daycare and everything if that's not going to become part of your argument? So I don't know. There's a couple in there where it's like, was this supposed to be an argument? Didn't feel like it. Sales pitch for product or service. You know, I would circle it, except she never told us what she does. She never even told us what industry she works in. All she did at the beginning was that she said that she's done research and work on like workplace dynamics or something, but she never got any deeper than that. So I'm not sure. I might need some help with that one. Self-vilification or wretchedness. Well, okay, and then somebody might have to remind me. I'm going to leave this one uncircled, but remind me if I'm not misremembering here. She did seem to be self-deprecating a bit when she talked about being Gen X. Did I remember that correctly? If so, I'll circle it, but I'll get to you guys momentarily. Economic disparity. Yes, she talked about differences in pay and opportunities and such in there, and it was implied that that was part of the consideration of moving your jobs and all on. So take that. Benevolent condescension. I mean, at the end, it felt like a bit because she was asking everybody to pitch in for something she hadn't described. Maybe. But I might be stretching there. I'll leave that one. And let's see. Okay. And lastly, microaggressions or unconscious bias. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything that got quite there. But I'm open to arguments to the contrary. So there we go, guys. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, put them in the chat now. If I missed your comment or argument, please just repost it, and I'll get to it as I can. Advocates Diaboli, yes, on the institutional, her entire complaint was that what she sees as stodgy old traditions she feels are outdated. Okay. Like I said, I was pretty sure I was on safe ground saying so, and Advocatus has very succinctly backed me up on that one. And so, with that, if you can believe it, and I sure do.
Bingo. What? Of course!
We have our 4th bingo. Oh my gosh. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else? Tier Alexander, self-vilification by being one of the old people with old way of thinking that is holding the youngins back. Yes, very good. I agree, Tier. Yes, I thought that that's kind of what she was getting at a certain point, that she needs to change to, etc. and so forth. So there we go. Another one. Thank you, Tier. Let's see. And Hemorrhoid Hurt says, yes, Gen X, but that was a pretend cover story to make her next set of bullshit statements sound... Well, true, but whether or not it leads to something worthwhile or not is secondary to that, the device of using it as a self-vilification or wretchedness kind of situation. Let's see. Who's next? Anybody else? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Chat, you never in place. She never actually sold it. Yeah. Well, she didn't give us any specifics on what she meant. That was just so silly. Let's see. Benevolent condescension, says Frosted Glass. Most adults don't have to close their eyes just to think of something. That was weird, wasn't it? That was really weird. Yeah, to stay in that moment. That was bizarre. Yeah, but is it benevolent condescension? It's such a weird moment. Okay. I see where you're coming from. I'm not sure if it was that. Okay, I need something more on how it was condescending. I get what you're saying, but I just feel like it's quite just on the edge because it was just such a weird momentary thing. Anecdote that never happened. That was the entire thing. See, this is the problem. Without further details, it's difficult to assess what she was talking about. What you're usually looking for is an anecdote where, afterwards you say, and then everybody clapped, right? Something that was too perfect for the moment and everything else that's just too well crafted to be believable. The entire talk was word salad. She didn't make her argument or point. We have squares for that kind of thing, but yeah, anecdote, Carlos Alfredo Lopez, anecdote that probably never happened. Her whole business, it was all her imagination. I mean, it is difficult to believe what she's talking about without giving us any details. Okay, I gotta weigh this against leaves out vital context. Yeah. I mean, there are instances where not enough information detracts from your credibility as well. You know what? Between that and the whole point of the talk is that, you convinced me. You convinced me. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to bring up something as your chief example and you're not going to give us any details on it, it's very difficult to give it any credibility. And so...
Ooh, that's a bingo. Right? Yeah!
Oh my gosh. Our fifth bingo. I didn't have very high hopes for this one, but holy cats. Let's see, Scribelight. Whoops. Microaggression and conscious bias referring to vets as it. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Or is that benevolent condescension? Gotta pick one. Emblazoned 64. Could benevolent condescension be from the looking down on the diverse voices not making it to the table as being the best? Looking down on the military person? Yeah. I'm more inclined to circle benevolent condescension. Because the speaking of ambiguity, one of the problems that I'm constantly coming across with microaggressions or unconscious bias is that technically it's supposed to be something brought up or used as a device within the talk itself, right? It wasn't originally meant to be something like, oh, we're assessing the speaker as projecting such things. Although that has been the case of it being circled many times in the past before. That's one of the problems I have with it. So either I have to reword that one or change it to something else, because you don't hear the word microaggressions come up that often anymore, or unconscious bias, really. I mean, once in a blue moon it might come up. So that might be a square that we need to revise as well. We've had to do a couple of revisions lately, so I'm not sure I can circle that one, because microaggressions nor unconscious bias was really brought up here, unless somebody has something in the aggregate otherwise that they can argue for. Hemorrhoid hurts. I believe she believes that she was selling something, i.e. soft sell on her being an expert in Gen Z. It has to be a bit more specific than that. Has to be like she puts a book up there, or an organization that she's a part of. There has to be a product or a service that is very explicitly being showcased on the stage. And TEDx is used for this all the time. So it's not such a rare event that you never see it. but she didn't really give, that's one of the problems. She gave us so few details on what she was talking about. I can't fairly say that she was sales pitching anything except a really ill-defined idea. Tier Alexander, sales pitch, her whole thing was trying to sell us on the idea that hiring the youngins and giving into their batshit demands will increase your sales and help you corner the market. But she didn't, though. she said it would, but she didn't actually sell us on that idea, did she? I don't know. It's a double bingo square. It really has to hit it out of the park. It's a double bingo square. I might be really picky here, but we're down to the wire here, and I don't want to just circle it for the sake of it. Uh-oh. Does Ma provide us some outside context for what it is that she does? Now, this doesn't count towards the bingo card because we are stuck with what's in the actual presentation. At the helm of Think Lab, she examines the ecosystem of the design world, unearthing and synthesizing the social and cultural shifts and drivers that impact the interiors industry. So, she's an interior design analyst, I guess. Abdicatus, she did sort of frame it in that having to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, was a microaggression against Gen Z because they are too free a spirit or something. Hemorrhoid hurts. Sales pitch. Her grift is that she's an expert Gen Z for corporate. I bet she is a corporate consultant on LinkedIn. Possibly. It was in the description of the video. Oh, the description of the video had it? Okay, well, I'm baffled as to why she didn't bring it up herself in the course of the talk. Like, why not? But, okay. It's a microaggression. No, see, it's a misunderstanding or something. At least from her perspective, it's a misunderstanding of how work should work for Gen Z and so on, how we should change work based on their wants, needs, and desires. I don't think I can make that stretch. I don't think I can make that stretch fairly. That seems like a bit too far, a bridge too far. But besides which, we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bingos. That's pretty good. Well, not good for the talk, but pretty good for us. Scribe is being... Who? Me? Me, an English major? Me, a veteran of TEDx talks and analysis, being pedantic? How dare you, Tyr? How dare you? Dexter's Killer Lab. White supremacy, her outfit. What, you mean her red Republican blazing red? Yeah. Well, maybe a person of color. Oh, geez. Meaning not doing so would be an aggression against them. I still think you're reaching, dude. I still think you're reaching. I appreciate it, but I think you're reaching. All right. Or commie outfit. Oh, that's true, Kieverdam. Could be a commie outfit. Blazin64. She was making the sale, just not good at it. Well, here's the thing. When I say sales fit for product or service, there have been, and I've chronicled several of them now, but one specifically, you can look up on my channel. It's a scripted TEDx from a long time ago called Putting the Art Before the Horse. And this guy, he gives this long lead in before dropping in, oh, by the way, I have an app. And then he goes at great length to describe this app. And so it was literally just a sales pitch using a TEDx stage. And I've seen that on that one. There was one about sending the Politibots, all these other things. So yeah, and the pants for girls so that they can pee on camping trips. Yeah, so there are some that have some talks that have explicitly are there for sales pitches for actual definitive products. So this one, she didn't even get that far. So I can't circle that one. White supremacy, no. And again, I'm going to need some ideas. on how to revise microaggressions or unconscious bias. I think that square has seen its day and needs an upgrade. So either we need to come up with something completely new, or we need to refurbish that one for 2025. By the way, if you'd like to contribute to that conversation over on the Discord link is now in the chat. Just click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me you are not a bot, have watched the stream, and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is, what's a good word? Transparency. There you go. Just say hello, transparency, and I'll know that you watched the show. And as always, if you have an argument for a square not circled on the board as of right now, you are always welcome to leave a argument in the comments below or over on the Discord server. And if your argument after the fact does convince me to circle the square and it does lead to a bingo, I will leave a comment, a pinned comment or otherwise on the stream and or mention it in the Discord server and give you credit for the square and for the bingo or bingos that result. Beyond that, you'll find me probably, unless something comes up out of the blue, which is possible but not always true, tomorrow morning on Midnight's Edge in the morning, where I'm now a regular panelist, much to my amazement. That'll be at 9:05 a.m. Pacific time, noon 05 p.m. On Eastern time. And then Sunday will be the Sunday stream at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I'll go over the news of the week, at least news that I found interesting. And you can join me for that, and we'll laugh along with all the craziness of the world. Beyond that, yes, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Mead! All you Mead people, thank you for showing up and checking us out. If you like this kind of thing, whether you're new here, old here, or otherwise, please consider leaving a like on the way out and or subscribing and or sharing my stuff out. And if there's a content creator out there that you appreciate, whether it's me or anybody else, please be sure to share their stuff out and let people know that you like it and that they might like it too. It helps out everybody in the long run, and you guys are our best algorithm. With that, moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated, holy catch, you guys are so generous. Thank you so much for that, either to myself or to the fundraisers pinned to the top of the chat box. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. It's very much appreciated, and I will do my best to pay it forward as I can. Otherwise, everyone, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope you have a good Friday ahead of you and weekend besides. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.